Welcome everyone. Today we'll be learning an amazing build and also method in farming your own Temopalis. And yes, this is actually extremely profitable and also much safer than I expected. So over here we're watching one of the content creators, Yangmal over here, and he's gonna demonstrate to us live about farming his own Temopalis. And yes, he did one-shot the boss using the trick with Trample Toe, of course, and that is the Temopalis. But of course, there's a lot more, and let's dive into this short highlight of how this was done. So first of all, to my surprise, you can become immune to all the traps in the trials using the right relics. You can see over here, our content creator is demonstrating to us that he is immune to 100% of the damage to traps with picking the right relic before the fight. And he's also using build that can clear the map in a wider radius to allow him to kill most enemies before he sees them on the screen. This is actually very powerful together with abilities to take damage. So notice over here, he actually have an extra shield called Darkness. His honor is 1 year. The moment he takes damage, when he loses the extra shield, he will lose a run. Because honor is 1, that if you take any damage, you lose honor, right? But having a special Ascension passive provide him with an extra 715 restorable shield. So here he actually took damage. So yes, after taking damage, he quickly ran back to wait for the shield to recharge, and then he repeat the process. So there you go, 715 shield just got recharged, he's gonna start the fight again. So he literally have over 700 rechargeable shield when he's supposed to have 1 honor for most of the other class and also ascensions and also builds. So this build is extremely good. Not only he can become immune to the traps in the trials, and he can also take damage in the trials, which is incredibly powerful. Just looking over here, during his rounds he took damage, but that's okay. As long as he have enough shield or darkness barrier and also enough defensive stats, which he does have a lot, he can take damage in the trials even when his honor is 1. And this allows him to have a much safer run, and this is pretty much printing divines and also Temopalis as he continues to use this method to farm more Temopalis, and he's also helping his viewers to get their Temopalis this week using this amazing build and also method. And of course, using the latest tech with the Force Wall and also the exploding damage, this is how he can take down the boss. So just to show you guys over here, the boss is actually the easiest part. Because the moment the boss gets summoned, it is one-shotted because of Trample Toe and also Force Wall. And this is a very powerful method. So just to highlight what is happening over here, the content creator we're learning from Yangmal is actually stacking a lot of armor. Notice that he have a lot of percentage of armor, around 8,000 armor with 68% physical damage reduction. He also have tons of maximum resistance. Notice that all the resistance are kept at 90% or 81% for lightning. He also have chaos incubation to become immune to chaos damage. So in this sense, he is very durable, and he actually has a lot of bonus defense or bonus barrier coming from this Ascension passive with Embrace the Darkness coming from the Monk of Tyria. Now this particular passive does remove all your spirit, but this allows you to take damage from darkness before taking damage from life or energy shield. And this means that he can have up to over 700 darkness to take damage before he take damage in terms of honor, and that is amazing. You can see again the demonstration, he took about 170 of the darkness damage, but that's fine. He can take up to 700 damage and then he can restore that shield, which is incredibly good. Now this of course will scale towards additional armor and also physical resistance, so this is why he's stacking this as one of the main stats. And as we keep going, we can see that Yangmal also provides us with additional stats that his effective hit pool, that he can take up to 706 physical damage, he can take as much chaos damage as he can, and he can take over 1,400 or 2,500 elemental damage because of the maximum resistance. And this means even though he's sitting on 1 honor, this build and also this method can work in farming Temopalis very consistently, because most of the time he won't be taking over 100 or 200 damage because he's so defensive. Of course, we'll go through the jewels and also item choices for the setup and also the budget for the build, together with all the gears that is related for setting up this build, which is very unique and also very special using those gears, and very straightforward with the choices of the gems and also the passives over here. Now, if you look behind me, I have also taken additional notes in terms of farming the trials for 1 honor and what are the essential relic, what are the breakpoints for you to become immune to traps damage. Together with the choices of the booms, additional tips on pausing the game, and also what can you pick with the booms, what are the recommendations, and also, of course, you probably want to try a few times before you start with 1 honor. But this is actually a very, very interesting and also creative method that allows players to be immune to trap damage and also have additional barriers when you're still on 1 honor. And in terms of a price check, the Last Flame Relic right now is selling for about 384 divines, and that is very expensive when you have 1 honor. But if you look at the Temopalis, it is selling for about 404, 405. If I refresh a bit, I think it's going up a little bit. And sometimes there's a price fixing in 400, 407, 410. It's around 410. So you might be thinking, hey Matt, there's not much difference. But imagine this. It took our content creator friend about 20 minutes or 30 minutes to run the trial to farm 1 Temopalis using the Last Flame Relic. And in terms of the profit he's making, he's looking for around, over 25 or close to 30 divines of profit in 20 to 30 minutes because he have the build going. And this is actually a very sizable profit, and not many people can do this unless they understand his unique and also special method. So yes, before we jump over to the method and also build guide, a big thank you and also shout out to Yangmal over here. And if you haven't subscribed to him, I definitely recommend you subscribing to him because he made an amazing guide that I do recommend you guys to have a look. He also provided entire length of the 35-minute run with 1 honor and also farmed his first Temopalis. On top of that, if you look onto this video, he has farmed over 3,000 divines and made a gambling video. And should you guys love gambling, check out this video as well. And if you join him at the right timing, he's now live streaming and also farming Temopalis for his viewers. So if you need help with farming Temopalis and if you don't have the build, you can join him over here and see if he can help you with farming your Temopalis using this amazing setup. So coming over to a builder's guide, and let's briefly have a look at how does this entire setup work. So you can see the gears and also items are not going to be cheap. This is the first warning with a budget. If we come over to the notes, you can see with Yangmal's video, he actually warned that his most expensive setup is over 965 divines. But he said that he has provided us with another variant, which is about 50% at door drill versus 95%. And this can make things about 200 to 300 divine cheaper. He also purchased a lot of the run relic during his runs because those were quite expensive, up to 200 divines. His later recommendation on the relics are much cheaper, and as I will show you guys, you can be finding the essential 100% immunity to trap much cheaper. And this will take another 50 to 200 divines off this entire setup, which can still be doable. So how does the build work? Well, we are running a spark build for the wider coverage of map radius and also killing enemies. The spark is actually combined with brutality, so it's actually not doing damage, but the spark is here to trigger this effect coming from the Trolls of Storm. When we critical hit, this will trigger greater lightning bolt. And we're using Temopalis not for blinking, we're using Temopalis to lower the cooldowns of Trolls of Storm. And Trolls of Storm will be our major source of damage. This will allow us to hit very hard, and this will allow us to take down enemies. We do have a boss variant which allows you to use Trample Toe together with Killjoy and together with Force War, and then one-shotting the boss as you can see in the video. Now, one of the biggest highlights for this build is that together with items that scales with lightning damage, extra damage, we'll also be gaining a ton of armor and also together with even high armor. And this of course gives us tons of physical resistance. We're also stacking a lot of maximum resistance like cold, fire, and also lightning. Together with abilities to have Embrace the Darkness, which will have Darkness Shield and removing our Spirit, Reservation of Spirit, this becomes the essential defensive capacities for us to have a greater barrier and then almost take no damage and allows the barriers to recoup and also restore itself. So this is the essential defense mechanics for the build. The build does really good map-wide radius AoE, and the build will have tons of additional damage once you switch into the bossing setup to be one-shotting enemies with Trample Toe. So now diving into the choices of the gems and those skill links, you can see that he's only using 3 skills. Spark is the only 5-socketed skill, and this is combined with Arcane Tempo, Acceleration, Inspiration, Brutality and also Chain. Now keep in mind, Brutality will take away the damage from Spark, but this allows you to hit with greater lightning bolt because you are critical hitting using this unique amulet. Now, one of the highlights for the build as we're going to go through is that you want to stack critical chance, because once you critical hit, this is the only time you trigger lightning bolt, and this means that your gears and also skills, everything, you want higher critical chance as much as you can. Gradient Lightning Bolt is a free skill that came from the amulet. You want to get this amulet to 20% lightning modified quality, and this will actually give 20% quality to this free spell. It only comes with 4 sockets. You can try to get the amulet skill as high level as you can, which will give you more damage. This is combined with Ingenuity for even lower cooldowns, with Considering Casting, Concentrated Effect, and also Spell Echo. So this is your major source of damage. Now, majority of the time, you're not using Force Ward, and you're only using Force Wards against the boss in the bossing variant because of the overkill damage coming from Trumpeter. So Force Ward is combined with Fortress and also Spell Cascade, so you can summon tons of Force Wards and also prepare for the boss, then one-shotting the boss. So now briefly going through the choices of the gears and also most essential effects for those gears. Those gears can be a little expensive. You can take a pick for budget gears if you can. So the most expensive gear piece will be Temopalis. And yes, this is a Temopalis build that is farming Temopalis, but it also uses Temopalis. The Temopalis lower cooldown reduction is here to lower the cooldowns of Chorus of Storm. And you will not blink in with Temopalis because we don't have any spirit because of Ascension. So over here, what you want to do is you want to have higher cooldowns and also, some great rolls on Temopalis will be great. The other choices, of course, you'll be using this unique amulet. This can also be anointed with Leaping Ambush, which we'll talk about very soon once we come over to the passive. In terms of the unique rings, the Seed of Catalysm is used twice over here, and this gives you a massive critical chance and also critical damage bonus. And those extra critical chance and also critical damage bonus will of course come back to boosting the damage coming from greater lightning bolt. This is also boosted by Ingenuity to give us a lot more stats to those rings. Now, during this time, what you can see is in the actual setup for our, content creator Yangmal, he actually have those gears to be corrupted with even stronger stats. You can see the belt actually have a 3% maximum fire resistance, and some of those gears will have bonus stats like Intelligence, Corrupted, bonus Intelligence. So if you want to make a max, the Path of a Builder will be available for you guys to have a look at the exact stats of his gears. And yes, they're pretty powerful with a lot of maximum resistance. Now, as for the rest of the gears, in terms of the weapons, he went for a +4 level to all lightning skills. It is too expensive to go for +5, it is likely for that reason, and you can see a lot of extra damage as cold and as well as fire. The most important part is getting a high roll for critical hit chance for spells. Together with additional lightning damage and also intelligence, this is a bonus. This is also the case for higher critical chance for spells on your focus. And then getting additional casting speed, additional lightning damage, energy shield, or mana regen, this is a bonus, and you do want some mana regen as you'll be spamming your spark. In terms of the helmet and also rest of the gears, you can see that he's socketing for the maximum resistance over here. And if you look at the stats of the character, you can see that he has a maximum, you can only get up to 90% maximum resistance on fire, cold, and he has 81 lightning resistance. He's also immune to chaos damage. So in that sense, all your sockets and also all your jewels should be focused on socketing your maximum resistance so everything gets over 75, 80, 85, and also 90% maximum resistance. In terms of the helmet, he's going for a lot of armor together with increasing armor and then getting all resistance. This is also the case for the boots and also the gloves. You can see gloves, he has a lot of armor, bonus armor, and then all resistance. For the boots, you do want some movement speed, as in the trials there will be events which you have to move quickly, and having more movement speed, bonus armor, more armor, and natural resistance are the way to go. Now in terms of the charm, he's going with the anti-burning charm, and this particular charm is used when you're ignited. This is the time where you lose your most shield and also risking your honor. So having this charm make you immune to ignite is very important to have this one on longer durations and also increased charges. Now, coming back over here, he has mentioned that the Melting Maelstrom or the health potion are not essential. This is only for restoration of mana, the bonus damage and everything is not essential, and he's not running Mana of Matter. So you don't need Melting Maelstrom. Any mana potion can work, but this just restores mana a little quicker. Now over here, you guys might have noticed I'm leaving the last part for the passive to the last guide, is simply because our content creator Yangmal over here has provided us with two variants to the build. The first variant of the build would require you to have a lot of expensive corrupted jewels together with one of the most powerful Adore jewels with 95% Adore jewel effect. So you can see a majority of those jewels will be the blue magical jewels, and then this will come with the Adored setup. This is over 400 or 500 divine setup. So if we come back over here, he has mentioned that you can go with a cheaper setup. In terms of the cheaper setup, you are still running the Adored jewel, but this is a 50% setup, and you can see the choices of the stats for the rest of the gears. And you can see the rest of the jewels, they're not going to be too crazy. So if you guys have a crazy amount of budget, I do recommend you follow this setup because you have more durability, you have better stats, even more maximal and also resistance, and also even better stats. And you can also run the controlled metamorphosis because of this. But if you guys are a little short on the budget and still want to run the build, the 50% Adore jewel setup can also work. And we'll go through this one on the second part in the passives. Now, as we come over to the passives, you can see the cheaper setup will actually have a different passive tree. So the cheaper setup is accommodating for the factors that you don't have the 95% Adore jewel. Notice the passive is a little different. So let's go over to the expensive setup first, and then we'll come over to the cheaper setup. Now, as you guys can see over here, we'll come over here for the additional extra damage as chaos. We come over here, of course, for Embrace the Darkness, and then coming over here for Grasp of the Void, and also finally with Inner Silence with reduced darkness reservation duration. Now, as we pass through the tree, what we're looking for is we're looking for a bit of mana reduction and also mana cost. And here we're looking for projectile speed with a lot of the jewel sockets wherever possible. Together with increasing spell and also critical chances, those are essential to trigger the Greater Lightning Bolt. You can see another jewel sockets, and coming over here, lots of jewel sockets with additional critical chance and also more critical chance, critical damage bonus. Over here, you can see we're getting more critical chance, and of course, we're getting Chaos Incantation to become immune to chaos damage. As we come over here, more projectile speed and also more skill effect duration. If you short on intelligence, you can go for this node. And here we have another increase of critical hit chance. As we come over here, a lot more skills and also passives for the increasing of critical chance and also elemental damage and also resistance, together with tons of jewel sockets for your Adore jewel setup. And finally over here, with even high increased armor, which will help you to become defensive with physical damage. So on the off chance or on the chance that you guys want to run the cheaper setup, what you can notice, there isn't that much difference on the first part, but on the second part, as you go path over here, you can see that we are allocating for more increased armor and also more maximum resistance. This is to assume that you guys do not have all the maximum resistance kept out, and this can allow you to get even more maximum resistance together with even high increasing armor. And this can help us to become even more defensive with even higher resistance. Now over here, I do want to mention, if you have the choice of going for the more expensive setup, or if you just want to use the Control Metamorphosis jewel, this can be amazingly good. This will take away your all elemental resistance, which can be a downside, but you're stacking a lot of those. You can see that we can be allocating for this node, which will give us even more maximum lightning damage. We can be getting this node over here, which will have a lot of increasing damage, especially in one-shotting the boss through killing your Ice Wall. And finally, we have the node over here to give us even more mana regeneration and also reduce mana cost. So coming back to the choice of the expensive variant first, so the Adore jewel is at 95%, which is over a few hundred divines. The rest of the jewels of the blue magical sockets, you're looking for increased armor by a massive percentage, and then finding a lot of maximum resistance. Notice that maximum fire, and here we have maximum cold. You can take a mix of those. You can get some spell damage, you can even get increased skill effect duration, you can get projectile speed, you can get more projectile speed, but ideally guys, you want maximum resistance, you also want armor on those jewels. Those can also be corrupted for additional stats, but this can also be very expensive. Now, in terms of the cheaper variant for the 50% Adore Jewel, it is very similar. Maximum fire, increased armor, maximum lightning, anything that provides you with more critical chance can also work. But ideally, you want to be more defensive than offensive because you have limited barriers and also darkness, and you don't want to lose all your barriers. Otherwise, you lose your run and also losing over 380 divine worth of the Last Flame Relic. So coming over to the second part of the video. I know the video is a little long, but this is going to be a deep dive in terms of this amazing guide. So firstly, as you guys can see over here, we talk about the cheaper setup. Now let's have a look at the Relic. So if we come over to the replays, you can see that our content creator had a variety of combination of the relics, and this is the best combination we should be looking for. Now he did mention he spent like 200 divines on those relics, end up not needing the roll distance, and he just wanted the reduced traps damage. So let's come over here to our notes, and during this time I have made some quick calculation for you guys for your reference. So there's going to be 3 vertical urns and also 4 horizontal seals that is combined in this space, and the last space is left for the Last Flame Relic, of course. So what are the stats you're looking for? Is going to be reduced traps damage, and you're looking for the highest reduced trap damage by 15%. Now it is a little harder to filter this. I did try to filter this, but I couldn't get my hand around it and I couldn't get the numbers in. So what I recommend is I have the filters available for you guys. You click here and then you click again to filter by the maximum resistance, and you want 4 of those relic with maximum 15%, and then 1 of those with 14% and 2 of those with 13%, and this will give you 100% traps damage immunity. This is important to have, and this is essential for much smoother run. Now in terms of the related tips for running this particular game mode with only 1 honor, it is recommended should you have a break or if you're getting tired, you can pause the game at any time by pressing ESC. And this is important because if you need a break, you make sure you take a break so you don't make mistakes. Now over here, we'll briefly have a look at some of the best choices of pathing and also booms, but I do recommend you guys to practice a few times or many times in the normal mode before using the Secret Flame Relic to using this mode to farm. So in terms of looking for the pathing, what we're looking for is we're looking for anything that is not increasing the monster's damage. So over here you can see we're pathing along, and this is the screenshot coming from the live stream with Yangmal over here. So you can see that over here, you can see this is one of the things that I mentioned over a few choices. That's okay. This is a debuff, but it's not too terrible. But if you have a look at over here as we path along with the bronze key, this is a bad pathing. But he had no choice during the time, there's no other alternative. This one means monsters deal 30% more damage, and this is bad because you only have 700 darkness, and you try to reduce the damage with a lot of armor and also a lot of maximum resistance. So you definitely want to avoid this one if you can. And as we keep going, this is actually quite interesting. During one of the streams and during the videos, the content creator Yangmal's viewers were actually warning him to not take this particular pathing because they're saying you only have 1 honor, and it might look like it is a free debuff because you only have 1 honor, you can't go lower, right? But they're saying you might die instantly due to random things once you have less honor, and the game runs it down differently. So they actually recommend him to not take this particular pathing. And what was recommended after that is might as well take this one, the Ritual Trial. So here you have, losing life, mana, or energy shield is not a problem because you have darkness, and darkness will take damage before everything else. So that was a safer choice. Now in terms of the second room and also the future rooms, you can start to see and also method to plan ahead. And in order to see this, I have video timed this particular video on the part when he was planning ahead using those pathings. Now during this time, we can have a look at some of the beneficial booms. One of the best booms you're looking for is that monsters deals less damage. After that, what you want to look for is you want to look for the increased effect of your non-unique relics, but you already have 100% immunity to traps. So overall, you're trying to not take monster deal extra damage, you're looking for ways to reduce the damage from monsters. And this will give you the best experience in your runs. Now before I finish, I know not everyone can have the fortune and also the budget to make this build or getting the Last Flame Relic. But if you guys remember, in our previous build, this is a 2 divine build that actually farms the Tribes of Second Room. And here the Chinese players were farming for the Secret Flame Relic. So if you want to start a build that is super fast with over 280% movement speed, I do recommend you have a look at this 2 divine build to be farming for the Secret Flame Relic. And that itself can already sell for over 380 divines. Now, should you want to look into a full guide in farming for the Secret Flame Relic, I'll be making a guide in the future to teach you guys how to do this, what are the best booms to achieve 280% movement speed, and how you can be farming this one consistently, because while you farm this one, you can be selling those relics to people for 10, 20, or even 50 divines for the right effects. So make sure you guys stay tuned for those updated method of farming the 12 second. So yes, this is a much cheaper variant if you want to follow this one to be farming the trials. And that build was actually made for that purpose, to be farming the Secret Flame or the Last Flame for the highest profit. Now hopefully you guys found today's video helpful. Again, a big thank you to everyone on YouTube, especially our supporters, and also those of you guys who's been supporting me on Patreon as well. And we do have a new feature on the Mattjestic YouTube channel. If you click onto this, you can become a member. Yes, I've added this just recently, and this will allow you to have early access to videos that is posted a few hours or even half a day earlier if you want to watch those videos a little early. But yes, this will cost money. So please be aware the membership will cost money. And if you do want to watch videos normally, those videos will still be available after 6 to 12 hours, normally on the time we post those videos. And I'll be aiming to post at least one Path of Exile video a day, and this will be including guides, tips, news update, and also the latest tricks that is discovered on both the English and also Chinese community to keep you guys updated. And if you like those videos, make sure you leave a nice comment and also leave a like for those videos. Now before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so, because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is going to be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.